Hello, everyone. Here we are live Thursday, January 13th. I'm here with another great guest, and we are going to, first of all, take care of the housekeeping tips. And so if you're joining us live in the comments, please write hashtag live, or if you're seeing the replay, hashtag replay, and do tell us where you're coming from. As you know, I'm coming in from Mexico, and my guest is from the USA. We'll find out exactly where when I introduce my guest to you. A few housekeeping tips. Also, please allow StreamYard to use your name for any comments that you want to make. There's a little strip above there that you can click on and just give them permission, because otherwise you'll come out as Facebook user and we won't know who's joining us live. And we want to be interactive with you. And if you just want to react, well, there are two ways you can react: thumbs up or hearts. We love those hearts. So send us those hearts. Okay. So usually I start with, what do we have in common, my guest and I? Well, we're both into self-development, both into health and fitness. Well, guess what? We're both downhill snow skiers, or at least I was. I don't know. We'll find out if my guest still is. Both connected to the fashion industry in different ways. I was through lots of friends when I lived in New York City, and we'll talk about that with my guest. We're from the same generation. Well, I may be a decade or two more than my guest. We'll find out. Both caregivers to our mom. Mine passed away 5 years ago, and my guest is still caring for her 90-year-old mom. And the great thing is that we're both entrepreneurs, and we love to serve and impact other people's lives. My Launch Lab, helping people launch and scale their business. And my guest is a life coach, and she's helping people transform their life. And so that's a biggie. So we both have the same business coach, Maya Comerota, and we met in one of Maya's program, the one called Born for This. And we have, of course, many mutual online friends. And I'm going to say it again: you meet the nicest people online. So meet my awesome guest, Carla Lowery. How are you doing, Carla?
Lucy, oh my gosh, that's so true. You do meet the nicest people online,
You
definitely.
absolutely do. You
Yeah,
absolutely do. So
yeah.
let's do a quick check-in. How are you feeling today, Carla?
Oh, feeling good, feeling
You-
good.
Okay, great.
Can I not? With Reiki and all the people I know. It's a sunny
Absolutely.
day.
Absolutely. Just want to let you know that Nancy William Foster is with us, and
Oh,
Teresa Parkin, who says hello. Hello to both of you. Thank you for being here with us. We love the fact that you are here with us. And we want to say hello and make sure that we
I,
acknowledge you.
I,
So, Carla, there's so much to talk about. You manifested your dream life. You went from lifeguard to life coach. I love that. I just couldn't resist to say that. So, can you talk a little bit about your past background? I know that your dad was in the military, so you moved around a lot.
yes.
Uh, can we start there? How was it for a kid to
Well,
have to move around a lot? Can you talk a little bit about that experience?
sure. I loved it actually. My brother, I have one brother, he didn't like it. After 3 years, we'd pick up the whole house and we would move to another uh,
Wow.
state or a country. I mean, he
Right.
was born in Alaska, my brother. So anyway, but it was a great childhood growing up because traveling, and I love travel, and so I always have that in my blood. I became a flight attendant for Southwest Airlines for 11 years, so of course I wanted to be. I think I wanted to be away from humanity really for a while.
Did you?
But I had to have time to think, right? And
Right.
once I got on the ground, then I had more of a perspective to start, having relationships and all of that good stuff. So that I don't know. It was a good life in my father in the military.
So it was fun for you as a kid then to move
Fun.
around, and it gave you that wanderlust, you wanted to travel. So you were a lifeguard at one point. Now, I have always associated lifeguards with a man's job. I mean, all the lifeguards that I ever saw on the beach were men. So can you talk a little bit about that, and how that happened, and where that happened, and when in your life that happened?
Yeah, sure. That's a funny story too, because I was probably still, I think I was still in high school, and I just went to it was the officers club was another one, and there was another enlisted men's pool that I started at, but then I went to the officers club, and then my father became the man. Yes, like you say, it's a man's position.
Yeah.
Well, he was trying to dictate to me and the girls that were going to be lifeguard and what kind of swimsuits we could wear. And we didn't want to wear a one piece, and he wanted us to wear one piece. I mean, I did that lifeguarding for probably about 3 years, but then when I went to the officers club is when it went downhill with my father because he ended up firing me. He fired me because I wouldn't wear the swimsuit he wanted me
Oh,
to wear.
wow.
It was like up to here, and it was like a one piece, and it was going to be so. And in Alabama, Huntsville, very hot. So, and that sort of led me on another path down in my life too, because you sometimes have those neural nets. Your own father firing you, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Resistance for sure.
Yeah.
Now, I know that you started your journey of self-discovery. You mentioned to me Danette May, a 30-day challenge. That really started your journey? Can you talk a little bit about that? Because there's a realization that we do manifest what we want out of life, and it seems like that's where you started, more or less. Can you talk a little bit about that to us?
Yes, yes. I was with a man that was Marcus Rothkranz. I was fasting, and it was in Washington State, and I did. He said you can eat your backyard, for crying out loud. I lived in the country, and there was a lot of plants and stuff, and I thought, well, you know what? I'm going to use these in my smoothies and what have you. So I did. Oh, good, Karen. I'm glad you got on. I
That's
was
great.
you could. Anyway, so I just started doing that, but then I saw Danette May because what happened was it became winter time in Washington State, and it gets very cold. So I'm just drinking smoothies. My body was just freezing, and I thought, and I saw Danette May, and she had these recipes, and they were meals, and it was about clean eating, and from there I just got more fit with her because it was mind, body, spirit. It was everything because you had meditations, workouts, and clean eating, and it just was a lifestyle change, actually. Is
Yeah,
what.
she actually worked from those three pillars, right? Mind, body, and energy, right?
Yeah.
And Therese says, I met you in Danette May program, started
Yeah.
me on her
Yeah.
journey
Yeah.
too.
That's where we met, right, Therese? She taught
Unbelievable. Yeah, unbelievable. That's so
me.
cool. So you had left, you did not get into it. That wasn't at the point that you were still a lifeguard that you started your self journey. That was
No,
after, right?
yeah. Well, then from there, I went to Washington, D.C. I got a job with my girlfriend. She got me there, and ended up going from there after working in a restaurant and seeing all these politicians come in and drinking martinis after another. I was like, I got to get out of here. And my boyfriend at the time said, let's go to Dallas, Texas. So I went to Dallas, and I lived there for 22 years actually. And I did a lot of jobs there, but one of them was a flight attendant for Southwest Airlines for 11 and a half years. So that kept me really busy. And then I went from there to selling clothes at Neiman Marcus, and then I ended up selling cars at Ford. I
Oh my
mean,
God.
a lot of jobs, a lot of
You
work.
did you did it all. You
Yeah.
actually did it all. So how was that experience? You kind of dreamed about being a flight attendant, as I remember, right? So how was the dream that did come true? Was it just like you thought it was going to be, or how was that experience as a flight attendant? I mean, I had that dream. I can remember,
Did you?
wanting to be a flight attendant. I
Yeah.
think. In
I,
our generation, that was a wild dream to have because you
I
could fly
guess so.
everywhere.
I
Yeah.
guess, well, I just remember being in the lifeguard chair. I did work at that pool before I got fired for a little while, but I remember just dreaming up there, thinking, what am I going to do for the rest of my life? At an early age, I was still in high school and, going towards college and everything. And I just thought, I would like to be a flight attendant. Something about that, getting up in the air,
Yeah.
getting away from the earth,
It
was
was
good
an
for me.
exotic thought. It was an exotic dream for young girls at that time. You could fly around, you could go everywhere in the world. It was just, I thought it was an exotic type of thing. And in fact, I even applied to be a flight attendant. I think it was with the American Airlines, and I did that in San Francisco when I lived in San Francisco. And do you know that I was 5 pounds overweight? Remember those
Yeah,
days?
that's
They told me to come back when I
yeah,
lost the 5 pounds.
I know. I mean, I did get an interview with American Airlines first, and then I got one with Southwest after, and I didn't get it with American. They sat me in a rocking chair, and I'm thinking, this is a weird interview. Like, I'm sitting there in a rocking chair, and they're asking me these questions like they weren't in harmony with who I know myself to be, and I just answered the best I could. Well, I didn't get the job. So that was a little bit of a letdown, but I didn't stop me because I still wanted to fly. And so when my boyfriend and I moved to Dallas, Texas, I was a waitress, and this girl at the receptionist at the desk said, "You know what? I'm going to go apply for a job at Southwest Airlines. They're taking flight attendants." And I'm like, "Really?" So her and I decided we would go do that. And my boyfriend at the time was like, he didn't like that, and so he pretty much fought me about doing it. And I said, "Look, I am doing this."
Oh, wow. How cool is that? So,
And because I was getting ready and he actually threw some milk on me. And you know how you want to look good when you're going to
right.
your first interview. And he threw milk on me. And I was just like, oh my God, get out of here.
Was that the end of that boyfriend?
Yeah, that was the end.
Thank you. Well, we have Carla that has, come on to us live. It's Catherine from, oh, she says, hello, Carla. It's
Oh,
Catherine from
good.
Minnesota. So,
Hi.
and then Karen here has, tell us your challenge. I'm not quite sure what challenge she's referring to. Do you have any idea what
What?
challenge? Yeah, maybe she could be a
I
little more
have
clear
to
about that. And Therese sold cars too, so you and Therese seem to have a lot in common for sure.
That is what I sold for Ford. Who did you sell for, Therese?
Right. So we'll wait till Therese gets back to us
Yeah,
with that information. So,
yeah,
okay, so you left the boyfriend, you got hired by Southwest Airlines, you worked for them for 11 years. That's a long, long time.
yeah.
And then you went into the fashion industry in
Right.
Dallas, Texas. But you were also you said that you worked for Neiman Marcus, but were you not also a rep for were you a rep for Ralph Lauren or
Oh
something?
yeah, that's where I still. Let's see. No, I started at. Oh, there was another store at the time, Lord and Taylor.
Oh, Lord and Taylor. Hmm.
And I remember, and talk about the dreaming thing again. I remember Neiman Marcus was the next department store over, and I'm in Lord and Taylor, right? And I started in the back with women's dresses, and then I ended up in the front where people come in the main doors, and I'm like working in there with all the different designers, but they weren't the best designers. And so then I ended up thinking, like, my imagination and dreaming, and while I'm working and all of that, I'm thinking, it would be great if I could just charge and send. Like, we could go from Neiman Marcus to Lord and Taylor, like our associates, all the people could like go and sell in each store. I don't know why I was thinking that.
Yeah, I know. Isn't it amazing that back then, Lord and Taylor, Neiman Marcus, I worked for Bloomingdale's in New York City, you
Oh,
know, and so I mean, we were adventurous, weren't we? We just had
yeah,
different jobs, and we loved those different jobs, and it just for me, it was like, doing something different. And I had a college degree. My father was horrified that that I was doing all this and with with a college degree, and I wasn't doing something more. I don't know what he
Right.
expected.
It's like or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Well,
yeah,
I didn't finish college. I went 2 years college. It was a 2 year college I went to in Alabama. And, I think I just simply learned how to socialize there.
exactly.
I'm not kidding. And I was crying to the counselor. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing here. I don't know what I can do. What can I do? I
Exactly.
literally gave me a box of tissues. I'm crying, crying because I just don't even know why I'm there. And he said, well, you would be good at counseling. Maybe you should take some counseling classes. And I do remember him saying that, but I did take a speech class so that I could be able to get up in front of people and not be afraid there.
Are you glad you make that decision then instead of
Yeah.
counseling?
Yeah.
Although listen, counseling, look at you today. Are you not a life coach?
Yes, I
That's
became a
pretty much counseling. Isn't that amazing? He did see that. He did see
yeah.
that talent in you.
Yeah.
Anyway, Therese wants to tell you that she sold trade-ins for dealers at auctions.
Oh
I
my
mean,
goodness.
this is so
Wow.
cool that all you guys had the same kind of,
Well,
well, we all did almost,
we
that
all
we,
have so much in common, all of us.
I know, but didn't we have a good time? We did have a good time, let me
when
tell you.
I we did when I look at pictures of me back then,
Mm,
I'm like, is that me? Like I don't even believe it's me.
Right,
I
right,
look like so futuristic compared, like
right,
of course I'm older now, so I'm like slowing down,
right.
from where I
Well,
was. But
slowing
yeah,
down is one thing. Maybe we're becoming wiser, in our age group. I don't know. Let me ask you, Maya. You and I have the same business coach. How did you come into contact with Maya?
you know what? I saw her with Danette May. They
Okay.
collaborate together, her and Danette May, and I was very fascinated by that. And then I saw that she branched off, Maya did, and but they came back again together at another time, and they
Mhm.
went on a hike, and I followed them, and and
Okay.
on the online, and it was interesting that dynamic, and so I was interested in Maya and her. She's so charismatic, and her energies
Yes.
are just I love her. She's great. Everyone does.
So tell me at what point you thought about becoming a coach, because I mean that's almost like a career change, really. I
Yes.
mean that means that you're focusing on something. There's a passion that you have, which is in line with a little bit of the consulting that someone kind of put into your thoughts.
Right.
Tell me how
I
that happened.
it became kind of like when my father passed away this time last year, and I knew
Mhm,
I was going to have to make a major move from Washington State after living there for 20 years and then having to come back here.
mhm,
Not having to, but I chose to come be
right,
with my mother since, that was her life partner for 60 years,
right,
and got this empty void. And that makes me cry,
mhm,
because I know I can help her, but yet I knew she wouldn't let me help her. So that's where she is, and nobody can help her. And but anyway, that's why I got into coaching actually, because I knew if I was going to live in this house with her, which I am right now, it was going to be difficult for me. So I had to keep my mind focused and forward, because I know that my father, even when my father was in the military for 22 years, then he went into selling insurance, then he went into a biology teacher.
wow,
So he always did that, and so I'm following that path a little bit of my father's. But then there was a time when he let all that go, and I saw him start to decline, and that scared me about my
yeah,
father. And I just said, Dad, where's your interest? You got to find something. And he just didn't. I guess he did everything, and just that was his time. You know.
right. How old was your dad at that point?
He was, how old was my father? Not, I want to say 90
Okay,
or
yeah,
91. I have to ask my mother.
It's really interesting because our whole generation, your generation, mine, and I may be a decade or even two ahead of you, but our generation is caught in between, us wanting to at our age refire ourselves kind of thing, because this is the time that we can really look at what we're passionate about and then want to make a difference in somebody else's life. And yet we're caught in between helping caregiving for our parents, and that seems to be where you are right now, because I know that 5 years ago my mother passed away 5 years ago, and I was there too, but it was just before I got online. So I kind of had her entirely to myself, worried about that. And then after that was when I could look at what else I wanted to do with my life. But you're kind of right there in the middle of the two, aren't
Yeah,
you?
yeah, that's the I walk a fine line. Yeah, and I know that I always have. I'm on a great balancing act
So you are in
with
your
her.
mother's house and
Yeah,
basically taking care of your mother, and then also trying to do doing your life coaching, that which is what you're passionate about, right?
yes, I'm passionate about it. I think the thing is the part about getting online, and knowing how to use the Zoom, and I got a little bit of a perfectionist in me, not completely, but I want it to be smooth.
I know, and
So
we were not born in the matrix.
yeah,
Technology for us is kind of a little foreign. But you know what? I don't know about you, but I used to get very frustrated about it. And I remember Tony Robbins saying, you know, if you are having trouble with technology, take a kid's viewpoint. They're always curious about what they're learning. And that changed the whole thing for me. So now whenever I have a techie problem, I'm very curious about it. And it's like, oh my God. And it just changed the whole energy for me, being curious instead of frustrating, you know?
okay, yeah, yeah. That's when I'm gonna start being more curious for sure.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Seeing
I
it.
put in a date that I would actually do a master class on the 24th of January.
Good for
and
you.
the, and it's about feelings and beliefs, imagination, and mind. So I wanted to, talk with people that might want to join. If they're because really feelings are your beliefs, right?
Right.
Like,
So this is a class that you are. Let's talk about that a little bit. This is a class that you're setting up. Is that correct?
you know how Maya wanted us to make a commitment when we did that
Right.
last. So I wrote it on the calendar.
And
And my
so tell me the name of the class.
it's just I haven't really got a name for it yet, other than loving yourself more, not less.
Okay,
And
love yourself more, not less.
your,
So,
your failure is your success.
aha, very good. Your failure is your success. Your failure.
Yeah.
Well, how do you see that? How do you see that your failure is your success? Can you talk a
Well,
little bit about that?
I see because in the eyes of my parents, for one, I was
Mhm.
never enough. It never. Yeah, I could never be. I don't know how to put it.
Yeah,
I mean, they're very supportive and loving and kind and all of that. But it wasn't the kind of love I needed. But they gave. Nevertheless, it was the love that they could offer, and I
exactly.
accepted it as much as I could. And then I moved on. I always would run away for like 20 years of my life and explore. Talk about curious, trying different things. So the failure part is relationships. Really, I think is the key. It can be with anyone. It doesn't have to be just a female and male, male female.
Right.
Just in general. But I want to appeal to probably women because I think women have the hardest time with breaking up with their partners,
Hmm.
and then and I'm one too. And once that happens, there's that void, and that is where you're falling back on yourself to have to learn how to love yourself more, not
Right.
less. in those moments, which I have learned that and I've traversed it. And I know I can be helpful in other people's lives with that. So,
Absolutely.
yeah,
So you're taking what you learn and just sharing it with somebody and how you got through it, how
right.
you, yeah. Are there any other failings? Because I don't want to emphasize the negative, but are there any, we learn through our failures, really. I mean, really,
Right.
nobody has been successful without failing first.
I
And
agree.
are there any other failings in your life where they were really kind of teaching moments for you that you learn that help you move forward in life?
Well, the one reason I got out of the airline was because I was turned into be a very avid skier. I could ski the blacks. I could like I went with a group of people that was with the fashion industry of all things,
Uh-huh.
Esprit, and my friends there took me on this trip with them to Alta, Utah, and they knew all these avid skiers, and they were advanced skiers, and we would have, it was just a dream for me.
Right.
I really had the best food, the fresh air. I looked at myself in the mirror. I'm like, is that me? Like, I was just like glowing, in that snow and everything. And, outside you could get in the hot pools and all that stuff. And I just went on that trip with her and them, and I learned all this from these people. I mean, they had like the film, they would film you doing this. I'll just give you a story. My girlfriend and I weren't avid skiers, right? And
Right.
they taught us and showed us movies and what they did and blah, blah, blah. So we get up to the top on the black, and you have to jump a cliff to even start.
I know
And
I'm a
I
snow skier, so I know.
her and I were like, oh, shit. Her name was Cheryl. I said, oh my God, what are we, we had to get our confidence up.
Right.
Well, they went around 5 or 6 times to show us how to do it. We kept watching. Well, she had this little bag of schnapps. I don't know, it was like peppermint schnapps. And we started drinking that. And do you know it? We jumped it and we got over that fear. So
Oh
we
my God.
started following them and watching our movies at night, having drinks and food and all that good stuff. And it was a lifestyle like that.
So
I
you
mean,
became an avid snow skier at that point, right?
very
Okay.
so
Now, now to
mhm.
clarify something for me. Now, you lived in Texas. Was this in Colorado that you and was this after you did the flight attendant? In your life did that happen?
The
The
challenge where I
snow
fell.
ski, the
The
snow
snow,
skiing adventure.
that's out to Utah that I went to, and uh, but I did go with my brother. Met me one time in Colorado. You picked up on that probably. I was very good at it,
Mhm.
and so my confidence level was up to here. Okay,
Right,
it's snow
right.
skiing. I wanted to keep doing it. So then, in the meantime, I'm doing my bids for Southwest Airlines, and I having to keep flying, to keep making money.
Right.
But then I saw a slot where I could go there on my own. So I went to Alta,
Um,
Utah on my own, nobody else. And I said, I can do this. Well, I get up on I'm on the chair, right, going up, and I usually just tune into nature and I'm just breathing and enjoying life and everything's great. Well, this man is sitting next to me. He gets on the next chair and I'm like going, oh my God. And he's smoking a cigar. And I'm like, I'm trying to like get tuned into nature, and he's got this and everything. And he goes, "You want to try this?" I said, "No." I- but do you know, by the time we got to almost to the top, he said, "Come on, try a puff." And I did. I don't even know what possessed me to do it. And when you get to the top of the blacks, you have to decide. It's a decision right there. If you're going to go to the right or the left. The left is more like corkscrews and all the things
right.
that I was doing. But on the right is the moguls. And he said, "What side are you going to go on? I could help you if you want to learn how to do the moguls." And I kind of did. So I made the decision to go on that side. Well, that was my mistake because I literally took a fall that tore ligaments in my left knee.
Oh,
And when
wow.
I fell, it really shocked me. The tears just flew out of my eyes, and I didn't even know what hit me, right? And he was laughing at me, this guy, kind of men I was attracting in my
Yeah.
life. some reason. And he said, "Look at you, you're a wreck." He said something like that because I had mascara and stuff coming down my eye. And I didn't even know what I looked like. I was just, I was hurting. Well, then they took me down. These people that put you on the sleigh and you're laying there like this, and they took you to go to the clinic or wherever you're staying, which was the Rustler Inn. And I ended up having to stay like 3 more days before I could fly back on my own. Well, that was my main reason for getting out of the airline, because it was going to take me a while to heal. And I wasn't really wanting to fly anymore after 11 years, to tell you the truth. I kept dreaming about. I kept reading People magazines. I kept wanting to get more into the celebrities, and I don't know. I was just, that's my mind.
It's so interesting what our mind does. You had that thought that you wanted to get out of the airlines. There was something greater, better for you, and then your body just says, "Oh, that's what you want. Here you go." and
Yeah, well, I had to heal, so I
and
did.
exactly, exactly. It's so interesting. Tell me, I know that you're also a Reiki teacher. How did you get into Reiki? Why Reiki?
I
I mean,
know.
why
Of all,
Reiki? There's so many other modalities. So can you tell us why Reiki?
it was a pure miracle that I talked, somehow Flor connected with me and mentioned the Reiki class, and I saw her online as well. And it just, for some reason, the way she spoke to me when I did talk to her, and the words she chose, and me starting a 6 weeks course with her in Reiki.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the healing arts anyway, anything to do
Okay.
with healing. And yeah, I was for that.
Mm-hmm.
But the way she spoke it and what I heard, it was exactly what I needed. And from there, I'm loving it. I'm like the Chokoré and the Sehi Kai, and just those words.
Yeah.
I'm fascinated with other countries, especially the Orient and India and places like that.
Right.
And
So you're actually going to become, forgive me for mispronouncing. I always thought it was Reiki, but it's Reiki. Um,
Reiki,
Reiki, and I know who your master is, Flor Marquez. She's a good
or
friend of mine, and
yeah,
she has done some healing and some healing sessions with me, and she is wonderful. So you're in good hands for sure.
yeah,
Are you finished with the course? Because you are going to be a master by the time you finish the course. I know about her course, right?
yes. Week course. I'm in the 3rd week right now, and we're on the 3rd symbol, which is Sho Han Sho Ji Shikai. I don't know. I got to learn it, and
Yeah,
we're learning symbols. Um, and it's funny because I got this, these symbols like this.
yeah,
Was
wonderful.
painting these because we lived in Okinawa for three
Okay.
years, my family and I. So I'm acquainted with this, but I didn't know how it was going to serve me and how I could serve others with that. So now I'm going to go ahead and paint these symbols. This is going to help me get my creative out, my artistic side, because I am an artist.
That's amazing. We never know what our past how our past is going to affect the future. We always think, how is this going to serve us? And there you are. And you're connecting the dots. It's so much easier to connect the dots when you look backwards than
Yeah,
when you're looking forward.
yeah, exactly. You have to look at all of the big picture,
Right.
and put it together somehow. And you're a part of that with me.
Absolutely. So
Tell
tell
some
me,
girls here.
I know, I know. I just want to let you know that Teresa or Therese she just wanted to let you know that you are a great daughter and
Oh,
precious memories being made. All right. So
Tree's
to
always been so
cherish
supportive.
that about yourself. All right. And so you have a lot of good friends here that are following you, Carla. So Carla, tell me, thank you for being here. I know how busy your schedule is. What's next for you? I mean, from here on, can you tell us, where
What's
you're
next?
going? What's next? Mhm.
What's next for me is getting a bike.
Okay. Okay.
I live Florida, right? And I'm in a neighborhood where there's I can get to the beach. It's 1 mile down the road from here. Like I can get on a bike and go to the beach. And I was talking with Leslie Rosa. She is inspiring me to go to the beach because that's my office because I need to get out of the house, because I'm with my mother and all these demands.
Absolutely inspiring.
Oh,
And
it's part of what I do. So, but I want to, make a balance in between all of that and get out and meet people and all of that as well.
so you're
So,
looking for some inspiration. You're looking for your environment to inspire you, and you're into health and fitness, so the bike works really well for you. So that's
totally.
great. And then you're in this wonderful program with Floor to finish your Reiki mastery. So how cool is that? So tell me, Carla, if anybody wanted to get in touch with you, I know that in the tickler we say that please the email that they can contact you by email, and it's C Lowery, Lowery 9999 at protonmail.com. Okay, so if anybody wants to get in, and what I'm going to do is after this interview, in the comments below, I will post that email for anybody who wants to contact you. To make sure that there's a way to get to you for sure. So I just want to thank you very much for being here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I know how busy you are. I know how, and I feel just like Teresa says here, you will do great, Carla. We do,
Thank you.
we, we, we do believe in you for sure. And also, I want to thank my audience. And I also want to remind you that Thursdays are my weekly interviews. So tune in next Thursday for another empowering interview. And if you wish to find out more about what I do, which is to launch and scale your business, send me a message, write LAB in your message, and I will have someone from my team contact you, and we'll have a discovery call to see if our program fits your needs. And also, we will be in touch with, you know how to get in touch with Carla, so we will have that information in the comments after the interview. So again, thank you, Carla, and thank you,
Thank you.
everybody. Thank you for our wonderful people who were here with us. So nice learning all about you, Carla. You've been a busy gal, Nancy said.
Yes.
And Teresa, and Teresa's last comment is, and I love Teresa's picture with her mom, who's 90
Yes.
years old, and she says she loves bike riding. So,
I
so
remember.
we should have a bike riding retreat or something.
Sounds great. I know. Teresa's great. She gets out and does a lot, and
I know
she's great to
she
get
does.
everything. Yes.
So she says, thank you, ladies. Thank you, Therese. Thank you, Nancy. And we will see you next week. And bye for now.
Okay. Thank you.
You're very welcome. I love you. Bye-bye.